Imagine waking up one morning, the sun casting a soft golden light across your room. It feels like any other day. But as you stretch and open your eyes, something feels off. There's a gnawing emptiness, a quiet hum in the air that wasn't there yesterday. You look around, your bedroom is exactly as it's always been. The same bed, the same walls, the same familiar comfort of routine. And yet, the more you look, the more you begin to wonder, how did I end up here? How did my life become so predictable? You've spent years building your life around comfort, the safe spaces, the easy choices, the paths that require the least amount of discomfort. You wake up at the same time, drink the same coffee, scroll through the same apps, and return to the same thoughts that reassure you that everything is fine. But in that moment, you begin to question the most fundamental assumption you've held. What if comfort isn't a sign of success? What if it's a trap? What if, in seeking comfort, you've unknowingly sentenced yourself to a life of stagnation? It's the question that no one dares to ask, the question that everyone avoids because the very notion of it unsettles something deep within us. What if the very thing you've worked so hard to achieve, comfort, has been the one thing holding you back from living the life you were meant to lead? What if comfort isn't your friend at all, but your greatest enemy? Why is it that we, as a society, have come to believe that comfort equals happiness? Why have we built entire systems, careers, social norms, lifestyles around the idea that avoiding discomfort is the ultimate goal? We've been told from the moment we could understand the concept of success that comfort is the ultimate prize, the goal to strive for. After all, who doesn't want to live in ease, to avoid pain, to bask in tranquility? But what if comfort is not the golden ticket to a meaningful life? What if it's a slow poison? These questions hang in the air, unspoken but heavy. In this moment, you realize that your comfort zone may be the prison you've built for yourself. The walls are invisible, but they are real. They trap you in a loop of predictability, keeping you stuck in a life that isn't alive, just existing. Think for a moment. What if everything you've ever been told about the pursuit of comfort was a lie? What if, in the very act of seeking comfort, you've been avoiding the one thing that could truly bring you fulfillment, discomfort, the challenge, the uncertainty, the risk, the very things that have the potential to change you, to transform you, to push you to your limits and beyond. And yet, we resist it. We choose comfort over growth, because growth requires us to face fear, pain, and uncertainty. It requires us to step into the unknown and leave behind the familiarity of our comfortable, controlled existence. But what if it's precisely this resistance to discomfort that's keeping you from becoming who you were meant to be? You know this truth. Deep down, there's a small voice inside you, quiet but persistent, that whispers, there's more for you, but you have to leave the comfort behind. It's the voice that tries to break through your daily distractions, that challenges you when you're lying in bed late at night, and yet, you silence it. You choose comfort. You tell yourself that tomorrow will be different, that you'll start the change when the time is right, but tomorrow never comes. The irony is profound. You've spent your entire life avoiding discomfort, trying to outrun the very things that would give your life meaning and purpose. But the longer you stay in your comfortable existence, the further you drift from the life you could be living, the one that's waiting for you, just beyond the walls you've built. So, here's the question you must face. Are you willing to trade your comfort for growth? Are you willing to risk everything for the possibility of something greater? Or will you continue to choose the lie of comfort and remain forever trapped in the cycle of the mundane? The decision is yours. But you must choose. The choice to break free from the comfort zone is not an easy one. It's not a decision that comes without consequence. But in the next section, we will explore why this choice exists in the first place. What is it that makes comfort so alluring? What is the psychological and philosophical root of this lie? Why do we cling to it so fiercely, even when it's suffocating us? And more importantly, what happens when we wake up to the truth? Now, let's peel back the layers of this uncomfortable truth. Why do we gravitate towards comfort? What makes us so eager to avoid discomfort at all costs? To truly understand this, we need to look deep into the psychological and philosophical forces at play. At the root of it all lies the primal instinct for survival. Our ancestors lived in environments where discomfort often meant danger. A sharp pain, an uncomfortable situation, or an unsettling experience was a signal that something was wrong, that something needed to be fixed, or even that our lives might be at risk. These signals of discomfort helped our ancestors avoid predators, secure resources, and preserve their well-being. Evolution, in this sense, trained us to avoid pain and seek safety, comfort, and security. But today, in the modern world, danger isn't as immediate. We no longer face the physical threats that our ancestors did. Yet, the instinct to avoid discomfort is still deeply ingrained in us. We seek comfort because it feels safe. We have built entire systems around comfort: our homes, our jobs, our relationship structures that protect us from the rawness of life's uncertainties. The problem is, this same instinct that once helped us survive is now keeping us from living. We are so wired to avoid discomfort that we don't even question it anymore. It becomes automatic. It becomes a way of life. Psychologically, this can be understood through the lens of cognitive dissonance. When our beliefs and behaviors are at odds, we experience discomfort, and our minds seek to resolve this tension. So, when we believe that comfort should be the goal because that's what we've been taught and yet experience discomfort, our minds work overtime to make that discomfort go away. We justify the decisions that lead to comfort, even if they're ultimately holding us back. But the most dangerous aspect of this comfort-seeking behavior lies in its subtlety. It doesn't always feel like an active choice. It's easy to convince ourselves that we are just doing what's necessary. We don't see it as a trap. In fact, many of us believe that we are being smart, prudent, and responsible by choosing comfort. We rationalize it as self-care, as protection. We think, I deserve this, and it feels true. In the moment, we are appeasing our instincts, our desires, and our need for peace. We want to shield ourselves from the unpredictable forces of life that make us feel vulnerable, uncertain, or afraid. But is this truly self-care, or is it self-sabotage dressed in a different costume? This brings us to the philosophical dimensions of the problem. Thinkers like Friedrich Nietzsche warned against the dangers of comfort. He spoke of the herd mentality, the human tendency to conform to societal norms and expectations that encourage stability and predictability. Nietzsche argued that in doing so we suppress our individual potential. He believed that true greatness comes from stepping outside of the herd, from embracing the discomfort of individuality and self-overcoming. Comfort, in this sense, isn't a sign of success, it's a sign of conformity. Arthur Schopenhauer, another philosopher, also saw the pursuit of comfort as a fundamental misunderstanding of human nature. He believed that suffering was an inevitable part of existence and that the pursuit of pleasure and comfort was ultimately futile. Schopenhauer didn't romanticize suffering, but he believed that it was through confronting our suffering that we could transcend it. In this view, comfort is not the answer, it's a temporary distraction from the deeper, more existential struggles we need to face to find meaning in life. In modern psychology, this idea finds a resonance in the concept of growth through discomfort. Psychologists like Carl Jung have emphasized the necessity of confronting the shadow, the darker, hidden parts of ourselves that we often avoid because they are uncomfortable. Jung believed that to live a full, authentic life, we must face these uncomfortable aspects of ourselves rather than retreating into the safety of our comfort zones. We are not just avoiding physical discomfort, we are avoiding the emotional, psychological, and existential discomfort that could lead us to greater self-awareness and personal transformation. Comfort, in this sense, is a lie because it stops us from growing. It holds us in place, cloaked in a false sense of security, and lulls us into believing that this is all there is. The truth, however, is that growth is born from discomfort, from facing the unknown, from pushing past the boundaries we've set for ourselves. Comfort is the shackles, and discomfort is the key to freedom. But why is it so hard to break free? The answer lies in the neurological wiring of the brain. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. This has been a survival mechanism for millions of years. When we encounter discomfort, our brains release stress hormones like cortisol, signaling that something is wrong. In response, we take actions to relieve that discomfort, whether by avoiding the situation, seeking comfort, or numbing ourselves with distractions. The modern world exacerbates this. We live in a society built on instant gratification. We can access anything we want at the push of a button. Comfort is only a click away. The more we indulge in these comforts, the more we rewire our brains to seek out those same pleasurable experiences, further entrenching us in the cycle of avoidance. But here's the hidden truth. This wiring doesn't just protect us from discomfort, it keeps us from reaching our full potential. The more we indulge in comfort, the more we become slaves to it. We end up living lives that are comfortable, but not meaningful. The world outside our comfort zones is where the magic happens, where creativity flourishes, where challenges create resilience, where discomfort transforms us into stronger, wiser, more capable versions of ourselves. The hidden problem, then, isn't just the desire for comfort. It's our unwillingness to face discomfort head-on, to question the very systems and beliefs that have been instilled in us since birth. This reluctance to confront discomfort is what keeps us stagnant. It's what traps us in lives that, on the surface, seem fine, but underneath, we know there's something missing. So, what's the solution? How do we break free from this cycle? Now that we understand the psychological and philosophical roots of our comfort-seeking behavior, let's look at how this hidden force, the pursuit of comfort, shapes both personal and societal realities. You may not realize it, but comfort is not just a harmless indulgence. It's a pervasive force that quietly shapes your every decision, subtly guiding your life in ways that might be deeply counterproductive to your long-term happiness, growth, and fulfillment. The consequences of clinging to comfort are insidious, often invisible, and always far-reaching. Start by asking yourself this: how many of your decisions are driven by the need to avoid discomfort? You may think that you're simply choosing the path of least resistance, or taking the safest route, but the truth is much deeper. Cognitive biases, those mental shortcuts our brains take to simplify decision-making, play a huge role in this process. One of the most potent biases at play here is the status quo bias. This is the tendency to favor things that are familiar and comfortable, even when alternatives might be better. When faced with a new challenge, our brains will often prefer to stick to what we know, because the unknown is uncomfortable. We'll convince ourselves that the known path is safer, even if it means stagnation. This bias creates a world where we end up avoiding change, resisting growth, and ultimately remaining stuck in an unfulfilling loop. Consider this: how many opportunities for growth, for a different path, have you passed up simply because the new road felt too uncertain, too painful, or too overwhelming? How many times have you chosen the comfort of staying in a bad job, a toxic relationship, or a life of mediocrity because it felt safer than the discomfort of making a change? These are the subtle but undeniable consequences of a life built around comfort. What's worse is that these decisions, small and seemingly inconsequential, compound over time. They form a pattern of behavior that becomes so deeply ingrained that it's almost impossible to see. Before you know it, you've spent years, even decades, avoiding discomfort. You've built a life around it, convinced that it's the right thing to do. But each time you chose comfort, you chose to remain small. Each time you avoided discomfort, you abandoned the opportunity to grow. This cycle isn't just personal. It also manifests at the societal level. Entire systems, political, economic, and cultural, are built on the foundation of comfort-seeking. Think about it. We live in a world that encourages immediate gratification. We have fast food, streaming services, social media, and an endless array of distractions designed to keep us comfortable, entertained, and passive. These systems thrive on our desire for comfort because it keeps us from questioning the status quo. It keeps us from stepping outside the boundaries of the systems that govern our lives. Take, for instance, the modern workplace. How many of us work jobs that we know don't fulfill us, simply because they offer stability, security, and comfort? We choose the predictable paycheck over the risk of starting something new, of pursuing a passion that might require us to step into the unknown. The economic system, in this sense, thrives on our desire for comfort. It encourages us to stay in our lanes, to avoid taking risks, and to conform to a life that's comfortable but lacks purpose. But comfort doesn't just trap us in unfulfilling careers. It traps us in shallow relationships, in cycles of consumption, and in mindless distractions. It keeps us from questioning how we spend our time, how we use our energy, and whether our lives have true meaning. The pursuit of comfort has become so ingrained in our culture that we no longer question it, we just accept it. We believe that the pursuit of comfort is synonymous with success, but in reality, it's the very thing that keeps us stuck. This cycle of comfort-seeking isn't just damaging to us as individuals, it's damaging to the collective consciousness. The more we prioritize comfort over growth, the more we allow ourselves to become passive participants in our own lives. We stop being the active architects of our futures and become mere passengers in the vehicle of life, drifting aimlessly toward a destination we didn't consciously choose. But perhaps the most insidious consequence of all is that the pursuit of comfort, over time, erodes our resilience. The more we seek comfort, the more we avoid discomfort, and the less we develop the ability to handle adversity. Life is full of ups and downs, and the capacity to weather life's storms, whether they're emotional, physical, or existential. As to embrace discomfort, it requires us to confront hardship head-on, to build resilience through struggle, and to learn how to navigate the unknown. When we refuse to confront discomfort, we become weaker. We avoid the very experiences that build mental and emotional strength. We build a fragile existence that shatters at the first sign of challenge or difficulty. And in this fragility, we are trapped. This is the great irony of comfort, it seems, to offer us security and peace. But in reality, it does the opposite. It weakens us. It disconnects us from the very source of our strength, our growth, and our potential. But how do we escape this trap? How do we reclaim our strength and stop living in this comfortable, fragile state? In the next section we will explore the rebellion, the radical shift in perspective required to break free from the chains of comfort. We'll look at how people throughout history have overcome this lie and what you can do to stop being a passive participant in your own life. The trap is set, the walls are high, the door is locked, and you're standing in the middle of a comfort zone that feels so cozy, so safe. But you know, deep down, that this safety comes at a cost. The question is, how do you break free? How do you escape the clutches of comfort, the seductive pull of the known, and the soothing lull of the familiar? The first step is simple, but not easy. It requires you to embrace the discomfort, the very thing you've been avoiding all your life. You must choose discomfort over convenience, chaos over control, uncertainty over predictability. This is the rebellion, an act of defiance against the lie that comfort is the key to happiness and success. But here's the truth. The moment you decide to break free from comfort, the world will not make it easy for you. The walls won't just crumble. In fact, they might get even higher. The discomfort will feel sharper, the resistance stronger. It's almost as if everything in the universe conspires to keep you exactly where you are, safe, secure, and stagnant. But that's when you must be strongest. You must trust that this discomfort is not your enemy, it is your ally. It's the force that will propel you forward if you dare to face it. There's a powerful insight here, one that many great thinkers have pointed out. The path to freedom is not the path of ease, it's the path of struggle. Consider the wisdom of Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the horrors of a Nazi concentration camp. In his seminal work, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl argues that meaning in life is found through suffering, through enduring and overcoming adversity. Frankl believed that, in the face of unbearable discomfort, we can find the strength to transcend our circumstances. He didn't advocate for the pursuit of comfort. Instead, he encouraged us to seek out meaning, which often lies on the other side of discomfort. The same applies to you. If you want to break free from the lies of comfort, you must face the discomfort head-on. You must embrace it as a teacher, a guide that leads you toward growth, not something to avoid. It will be hard. It will feel like a battle against your instincts. But that's exactly where your power lies. One way to embrace this discomfort is through the concept of delayed gratification. In a world where instant gratification has become the norm, we must learn the art of patience. It's the practice of enduring short-term discomfort for long-term rewards. The ability to delay gratification is what separates those who live passively from those who live with purpose. It's about making decisions not based on how comfortable they will make you in the moment, but based on how they will serve your growth and future happiness. Look at historical examples of those who embraced discomfort, who defied the pull of comfort, and created something extraordinary. Think of someone like Steve Jobs, who relentlessly pursued innovation and pushed the boundaries of what technology could achieve, often at the expense of his own comfort and well-being. He didn't live a life of ease, he lived a life of relentless discomfort, constantly challenging the status quo and himself. His discomfort led to the creation of Apple, a company that revolutionized the world. Or think of athletes who push themselves to the physical and mental limits of endurance, enduring hours of grueling training and physical pain to achieve greatness. They don't seek comfort, they seek improvement. They understand that growth is forged in the fire of discomfort. They know that, in the long run, their sacrifice will bring them a sense of accomplishment that comfort never could. Need to be a Steve Jobs or an Olympic athlete to break free from comfort. You don't need to make grand, world-changing gestures. Sometimes, the rebellion starts with small, daily acts of courage. It's about making the choice to step outside your comfort zone, no matter how small that step may seem. It's about facing your fears, confronting your insecurities, and taking action, even when it feels terrifying. Here are some ways you can start. Start with small challenges. It's easy to avoid discomfort by sticking to what you know. Start by pushing yourself to try something new, whether that's signing up for a class, engaging in a difficult conversation, or taking on a project that stretches your capabilities. Every time you push yourself, even in small ways, you start to break down the walls of your comfort zone. Seek discomfort intentionally. Schedule discomfort into your life. This might mean taking a cold shower, fasting for a day, waking up earlier than usual, or exercising in ways that challenge your body. These small acts of discomfort can build mental toughness and help you grow accustomed to pushing through resistance. Change your mindset. Reframe discomfort from being something to avoid to something to embrace. Instead of viewing discomfort as a threat, see it as an opportunity for growth. Train yourself to find excitement in uncertainty and challenge, knowing that on the other side lies personal development. Question your assumptions. When you're faced with a decision, ask yourself, am I choosing comfort? If so, why? What would happen if I chose discomfort instead? Challenge your mind's automatic responses and begin to consciously make choices that push you beyond your comfort zone. The most powerful tool you have in your rebellion against comfort is your mindset. It's the internal shift from seeking ease to seeking growth. Once you begin to view discomfort as a tool for transformation, your entire world changes. The discomfort no longer feels like a threat, it becomes a stepping stone, something to welcome rather than avoid. This rebellion isn't easy, and it's not quick. But every step you take to break free from comfort is a victory. The more you rebel, the more you reclaim your life. The more you face discomfort, the more you transform into the person you were meant to be. In the next section, we'll explore the ultimate truth, the powerful realization that comes from embracing discomfort and breaking free from the lies of comfort. This truth will shift your perspective in a way that makes all the challenges, the pain, and the discomfort worth it. Now that you've embraced the rebellion, faced discomfort, and pushed yourself beyond the familiar, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start to realize that the discomfort you once feared, the uncertainty, the struggle, the challenge was never your enemy. It was the key to something deeper. It was the very thing that was waiting to show you the truth about yourself, about life, and about the world around you. And this truth, when you finally grasp it, changes everything. The ultimate truth is simple, yet profound. Comfort is the greatest illusion you can live under. It's the mirage that tricks you into believing that security, ease, and predictability will bring you happiness and fulfillment. But in reality, comfort keeps you from experiencing life's true depth. It keeps you locked in a shallow existence, where your potential is stifled by fear of the unknown and the untested. Here's single quotes. As what happens when you fully realize this truth, you understand that growth, meaning, and joy are not found in the absence of discomfort. They are found in its embrace. The discomfort you feared wasn't there to punish you. It was there to guide you, to push you towards something greater than the small, controlled life you had built. You begin to see that discomfort isn't just a necessary part of life, it's a gift. It's the signal that you are pushing against the boundaries of your current self, that you are expanding, evolving, and becoming something more. The pain of growth, the tension of transformation, is the price of progress. The more you lean into it, the more you realize that every challenge is an opportunity to unlock a new layer of your potential. It's a revelation so powerful that it reframes everything you've ever known. Every failure you've encountered, every setback you've faced, and every uncomfortable moment you've endured suddenly has new meaning. They weren't obstacles, they were the very stepping stones to the life you were meant to live. In embracing discomfort, you finally realize that comfort was never your true goal, it was a distraction. It kept you from experiencing the richness of life, from confronting your fears, from questioning your assumptions, and from becoming the person you were meant to be. But now, as you stand in the aftermath of your rebellion, you see clearly, it was through discomfort that you found your freedom. The power in this realization is that it completely shifts your relationship with life. No longer do you see discomfort as a force to avoid, you see it as a force to embrace. You understand that every time you step into the unknown, every time you take a risk, every time you face your fears, you are becoming more of who you truly are. You are no longer a passive observer of your life. You are the creator, the architect, the active participant in your own transformation. This truth will reverberate in every corner of your existence. No longer will you choose the path of least resistance, because you now know that it is through resistance that you grow. You will no longer seek the easy way out, because you understand that the hard way is the path that leads to depth, to wisdom, and to fulfillment. The most profound shift, however, is this. You now understand that life itself is about discomfort. From birth to death, discomfort is the constant companion, the underlying force that pushes you forward, and it is this discomfort that imbues life with meaning. Without discomfort, without challenge, without the friction of change, there is no growth, there is no creation, there is no evolution. In this sense, the ultimate truth is not just about embracing discomfort, it's about embracing the cycle of life. Life is an ongoing process of transformation. It is always moving, always changing, always evolving, and just as the seasons change, just as night turns to day, your life is an ever-flowing river of discomfort and growth, of pain and progress. Each discomfort you face is just a natural part of that flow. The more you resist it, the more you disrupt the rhythm of life. The more you embrace it, the more you align yourself with the flow of the universe, with the deep cosmic truth that we are all in constant motion, constantly evolving. This truth changes how you approach every aspect of your life. It transforms the way you see challenges, the way you respond to setbacks, and the way you pursue your dreams. When you embrace discomfort, you stop seeing obstacles as enemies to be avoided, and start seeing them as opportunities to push your limits, to expand your horizon, to explore the unknown. The greatest realization comes when you understand that the discomfort you feared was never meant to break you, it was meant to build you. It was meant to help you discover what you are truly capable of, to reveal the power within you that you never knew existed. And in this realization, you find peace. Not the peace of comfort, but a deeper, more fulfilling peace. The peace of knowing that you are living fully, that you are not hiding from life, but engaging with it at its most raw and authentic level. You stop seeking comfort because you realize that comfort is the enemy of growth. And in this understanding, you begin to live more fully, more boldly, and more meaningfully. So, the final question is this: what will you do with this truth? Will you go back to the comfort of your old life, to the predictable, controlled existence you once knew? Or will you step boldly into the discomfort of the unknown, knowing that it is the key to your true potential? This is your choice. And it is the choice that will define the life you live. The lie of comfort is broken. The truth of discomfort is your freedom now. The question remains, will you step into your greatness? Will you dare to break free from the lie of comfort and live the life you were always meant to live?